Did you have to choose between two lives? I never thought I'd have to choose between my son and my best friend, but that camping trip changed everything. Mark and I had been friends since 3rd grade, 30 years of shared history. He was the best man at my wedding and the first person to hold my son, Aiden, after he was born. When my wife died from cancer 3 years ago, Mark moved in for 6 months, making sure we ate and occasionally showered. We planned this annual trip to Blackwater Ridge for months, just us and 11-year-old Aiden. This year felt especially important. It was the first time Aiden seemed excited about something since losing his mom. Dad, can we fish at Copper Lake tomorrow? Aiden asked as we unpacked. His eyes had that spark I hadn't seen in years. That's the plan, buddy, I replied, ruffling his hair. Mark was setting up the tent, already 3 beers in. Actually, I was thinking we could hike to Stillwater Falls instead, he interjected. It's incredible this time of year. I hesitated. That's not on our trail map. It's only a mile off the main path. Trust me. Mark had that familiar, stubborn look. I should have said no, but I owed Mark so much and Aiden seemed excited by the waterfall idea. 1 mile quickly became 3. By early afternoon, thick clouds rolled in, darkening the forest prematurely. Mark, we should head back, I said, checking my watch. It's just over this ridge, I swear, he insisted. When the rain started, it came suddenly, sheets of water turning the ground into slick mud within minutes. We rushed toward a rocky overhang for shelter. That's when I heard the first scream. Mark had veered right, taking a shortcut down a muddy embankment. His foot caught on an exposed root, sending him tumbling. When he stopped rolling, his leg was twisted beneath him at an impossible angle, bone gleaming white through torn flesh. Tom, help me, he screamed, face contorted in agony. I started toward him when another sound cut through the storm, higher pitched, more terrified. Dad, help! I spun around to see Aiden. He had slipped into the creek, now transformed by the rain into a churning current. He was clinging to a half-submerged branch about 50 yards away, the water rising rapidly around his chest. I can't hold on, he cried, his small fingers white with effort. I froze. Mark was losing blood fast. Aiden couldn't swim well, and the branch he clung to was bending under the force of the current. My best friend, my son. Tom, go get him, Mark shouted through gritted teeth. I'll be fine. Go! I sprinted toward Aiden, my feet slipping on wet rocks. The branch snapped just as I reached the creek's edge. I lunged forward, catching his jacket as the current tried to sweep him away. With one desperate heave, I pulled him from the water and placed him on higher ground. Stay here! Don't move! I commanded, already turning back toward Mark. By the time I reached him, Mark was pale and shaking. I tore off my belt, fastening it above the brake as a makeshift tourniquet. No cell service. The nearest ranger station was at least 3 miles back. Leave me, Mark whispered. Get Aiden somewhere safe first, then come back. The rain was still coming down. Night would fall soon. Leaving Mark meant risking him bleeding out. Taking Aiden along the treacherous path with a badly injured Mark would be slow and dangerous. I made my choice. Aiden, come here. When he arrived, trembling and soaked, I gave him my pack. We're going to carry Uncle Mark together. I fashioned a crude stretcher from branches and our rain jackets. For 3 grueling miles, Aiden and I struggled back toward civilization, my muscles screaming, his small face set with determination. When we finally reached the ranger station, Mark had no pulse. The rangers performed CPR while a helicopter was called. They managed to restart his heart just before the medevac arrived. 3 days later, I sat beside Mark's hospital bed while Aiden slept nearby. When Mark finally opened his eyes, he wouldn't look at me. You should have gotten Aiden to safety first, he whispered. Left me and come back. I took his hand. I did get him to safety. The safest place was with me, doing the right thing. And the right thing was not leaving you behind. Mark finally turned to look at me, tears in his eyes. I would have left me, he admitted. That's why I didn't, I replied. Sometimes there's no right choice, just the one you can live with.